dear magical friends. Welcome to your weekly horoscope and tarot scope with me, 𝚑𝚑𝚎𝚎, spelled N-A-T-A-L-E-E. In this video, we're going to open up the astrology and the collective energy of the full moon in Virgo for all 12 zodiac signs. You're already feeling this the weekend of Saturday and Sunday, March 4th and 5th, and you're going to be feeling this all the way to the new moon on the 21st of March. This is a pretty big week to discuss astrologically. It's a big deal. There's a lot happening in the month of March, these next couple weeks specifically, and it's really important to do great horoscopes and to be very, very thorough, which is why I'm taking us through the zodiac and giving you guys a little bit of a benefit of what you can expect for all 12 zodiac signs, and it just couldn't have come at a more inconvenient time since I'm so inspired with my artistic inspirations that's all I want to do. Anyway, we're going to do that. So that's what we're going to do. The format's going to be different than what I usually do. And for those of you wondering and you're already asking questions. This is a costume. I'm not an actual astronaut. So before you guys get really, reaching out to me for all of your space needs, you're going to have to just take a deep breath and contact your local NASA branch, and they will have an astronaut for your needs. But that's not me. I'm not the one. I'm not the professional astronaut. I'm not the space woman that you need for your mission. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in. This is a full moon in Virgo happening on the 7th, technically like Monday night going into Tuesday morning on Tuesday, but like I said, you're feeling it as the moon gains in light. Then you're going to be feeling it oozing out the couple days like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You're going to feel it real hot and spicy. Then the results are going to continue to play out, and you're going to have things that you need to do with everything that comes up at the full moon. You're going to have to put it in the right place. You're going to have to take some things that has come out and put it over here. You're going to have to delete some things over there because they are no longer relevant to your life anymore. Some things have run their course. Some things are reaching their max fullness. It's going to be a lot. So that's what you're going to be doing over the 2 weeks from the 7th until the 21st of March. And okay, so let's go ahead and get in. So both of the lunations, this month configure Mars very prominently, and Mars has been in Gemini since August of last year. So this full moon is tightly configured. We have a full moon in Virgo opposing the sun in Pisces, and together they are T-squaring, which means that they are both making 90-degree angles towards Mars. So that means that all of the energy gets channeled through this focal point of Mars in Gemini. Okay, so the 90-degree angle, the 60-degree angle, when we talk about trines and all these things, they are the quality of the connection between these two sources of energy. I'm a source of energy, you're a source of energy, the moon's a source of energy. So the mathematical, this is why I'm never going to be like a super astrologer, because there's way too much math and it's not my gift. So that's the language we use to help us understand the quality of the connection. Is it an easy flow, or is it like what is it? So the T square has a couple different angles. It has 180 degrees, the relationship between the moon and the sun, and then it has two 90-degree angles between the moon and Mars and the sun and Mars, and they're happening at the same exact time, which means that all of what we've been focusing on in the Pisces area of life with the sun in Pisces, taking in this full moon in Virgo, illuminating across the way things that we need to see, things that we need to understand and communicate together, they are pressuring Mars to do something about it, to act on it, to take action, to do the thing, make the change, and go for it. So you're going to feel that. You're going to feel like, I got to do something about this. I have to I have to do it, And here's the thing with this Mars. This Mars is in Gemini, which is hilarious. Mars and Gemini people are very, very interesting to talk to. But the thing is that Mars has been retrograde. I mean, it's not retrograde right now. It was retrograde for a little bit, but now they're direct. So if you have been trying to push something since like January until the end of March, it's falling apart, it's disintegrating, or it can fall apart if it hasn't really been authentic, if it hasn't been true for you. And we have all had to rethink how we approach the Gemini area of life, and specifically how we act in the Gemini area of life, what we are physically doing with our physical energy. And because it's the duality, the sign of the twins, we may have taken on multiple things, entertained multiple options. We could have had multiple opportunities coming up, and we have had to practice the discernment to choose wisely. Robert De Niro said of his acting roles, the talents in the choice, the talents in the choosing of these roles. For he also got the Godfather, but it's not that's beyond the scope of this video. So this is where you may feel the pressure to make a choice this way or that way, this job, that job, this person, that person, this situation, that situation. And this is going to be something that you're going to have to act on that should be different than choices you've made previously. You're here to make a different choice. You're here to not fall where you've fallen before. You're here to have the wisdom about you. And with the moon in Virgo, information, intel, details. And that's why people are going to be very primed to take action, because things are very obvious, things are very clear, things are very overt, to ourselves, and to also, you know, if a situation has, you know, solid results that we can visibly see, we're going to see. Okay, we're gonna see very visibly, you know, what's holding up and what's really not holding up, what is really like trying to just like be phased out. Okay, so, you know, wherever this happens to be, we're gonna go through that for the zodiac, but wherever this happens to be, this is where you're feeling the pressure cooker to do something differently, to make a decision, and you'll have likely changed your mind about it or seen something very differently since August of 2022. And this changed attitude, this changed, hopefully elevated perspective, is what should empower you to do something different, or to make a new, different choice for yourself. That's not the only thing that's happening. We're gonna go through everything else, but that's like the biggest thing that I just thought, oh my God, this is gonna be like, this is gonna be hard. It's gonna be very difficult. So, okay. Let's take a look. What else is happening? So we also have this full moon in Virgo trining over to Uranus in Taurus. Another signature carryover from the end of summer last year. That is when we had the triple conjunction in Taurus. We had, I think it was Mars and the North Node and Uranus, all in the sign of Taurus. And that was at some point at the end of summer, but that was just a really perfect example for me. I took a class, I jumped on a course, I just like dove right in, started that at the end of summer. And now, and this is also like, this Mars is impacting like what I do every single day, my daily routine, my daily rhythm, how I show up to the moment to moment, the quality of my mentality. We might have some guests coming in. The quality of my mentality, the quality of just being in the moment and living in the moment. So now I don't want to do anything except write and do TK. So I'm like thinking so much about like my day and like what I'm doing with my day and like my ideal day. So for me, you know, this trine to Uranus, that was my 5th house, and so it was this huge, you know, big, I mean, I got a lot of information. Like, it was like this huge like fire hose of creativity and structure, and like all, I was just like eating it up. So at this full moon, it's just kind of funny because now I'm like, oh my God, like I love this so much. Like, so I work out, you know, time to do this every single day, and I just want to do like more and more and more. So, you know, I know that I'm going to be feeling a little bit of tension of, well, I have to do other stuff. I have to do, you know, I have to do other stuff too. So, you know, and we've had Saturn in Aquarius making things feel heavier and sort of burdened. My legs are too long for this, so I have to like just adjust these. Okay, so they didn't, if it were real NASA, I'm sure they would like tailor this to me. Anyway, so Aquarius has been squaring Uranus and Taurus. They've been doing this little dance for 2021 going into 2022. So you've had to, that was helping you break down some of the things that were too new and different, or too, or you might have looked at it with like immediate judgment. And, you know, it's part of this full moon because this full moon happens with Saturn in Aquarius, and then hours later, Saturn moves on into Pisces. So it's almost like this last, we call in the, we finish the last of the karma, we pay off the debt, we do this last big thing, and then we get to work building the future, building and grounding and manifesting our vision, a different feeling of what we want to pledge our commitment to and our responsibility to. So this is a very transformative full moon. And you know, with the full moon happening with Saturn being in Aquarius, you know, this is, like I said, been trying to ground you with your own authenticity, because with Saturn in Aquarius from December 2020 until March the 7th, 2023 has been all about authenticity and ego, and who you align with based on those standards that you hold to yourself, and then to the other people that you congregate with, that the comradeship. So Saturn in Aquarius had people either not being authentic to themselves and going along to get along, has had people doubling down on who they are, facing alienation, facing the backlash for that. Maybe even because it's Aquarius, maybe even before the time, you know, being ahead of the time, being ahead of the curve before everyone else gets it, and just living with that. The ego part of this says it's a total matter of perspective, how you see yourself being authentic and how you see yourself going along to get along, or doing, you know, why do you even want something? Is that for societal approval? Is that for your ego? Is that for you to feel like you belong? Or, you know, there's been a lot of that people have had to contend with and deal with over the last few years. But like I said, it's just with yourself first. You hold yourself to your standard of integrity and authenticity, and not only checking your own ego, but going through the necessary ego deaths when life leads you to them, so that you can make a different choice and have a better quality of life for yourself. You can only have love or ego, one or the other. You cannot have both of them in the same place within you. You have to choose. And when you come up to your ego death, you either choose the ego, you're like, I'm going to go down with this, I'm going to die on this hill, and you choose your ego, and you don't grow, you sort of, you know, self-sabotage, or you choose love. And when you choose love, you open your heart up, and it melts your ego, it humbles you. So if you've been letting that process happen with Saturn in Aquarius to humble you so that you can be authentically who you are, that has allowed you to find and connect with the people that have also done the same thing, that also want to be around, you know, kindreds, or whoever the people are. And you know, you all get to live happily ever after this week. Just kidding. But you know, this has been part of the big lessons, and that's been working on you in some other area of life. So this full moon is also connecting to that, because this Mars and this Saturn have been going in some repetitive trines throughout these few months because of Mars's retrograde. So we've had some contact between these two specific bodies. Now, when Saturn does move into Pisces, that's going to bring in some new commitments, and it's a whole different vibe. Honestly, we are wrapping up what we've been working on for 5 years, because Saturn has been in back-to-back Saturn ruled signs, Capricorn and Aquarius, since 2017. So honestly, this is a really big deal for all of us, and we just all need to just be really chill and really self-congratulatory. But there may still be some hard decisions or some difficult decisions that people still have to make in order to take the right action or do the right thing or make the right commitment. You know, when a planet leaves, they give you a little gift. They give you a little reward for the hard work that you've done. And you're going to get what you put in. Nothing more, nothing less. All of these planets are completely impersonal. Astrology is 100% impersonal. It always comes down to what you make of it, what you make of your life, what you make of your energies, what you make of what's available to you. You know, you can go to an astrologer and ask about the love life, and the astrologer is telling you all the energies going in your career, you defining yourself, you being, and then you're like, I don't want to hear that. I want to hear about my love life. And they're telling you the energy's not going there. If you try to do this and build this up, they're not going to stick. They're not going to last. You're spinning your wheels. But that's not up to the astrologer. It's only up to the astrologer to tell you that. You make the decision. You make the decision of what you're going to do with the energy and how you're going to use it. If you decide to use it at all, you might not. You might say, you wouldn't know. What I'm saying? Like, you know, it could be, you know, but you might have that astrologer that tells you, like, why don't you write comedy, Natalie? You're hilarious. You're like really, really funny. And, you know, this years ago, me telling her, I just thinking to myself, like, you're wrong. You just don't, you don't get it. I'm asking you about this. I was asking her about something, and the moment she's like, no, you're it makes sense now. It makes a lot of sense now. It was Catherine O'Hara's birthday yesterday, and I wanted to do a shout out so bad, but I didn't want to, I don't like know her personally, so I didn't want to be weird, and you know, these parasocial relationships. Just kidding. But I'm watching Schitt's Creek, and it's so, watching Schitt's Creek, I can totally see the 3 to 4 jokes a page. They make it look very easy, and I can feel the flow. So that's an amazing example. If anyone out there was wondering, I just started watching it, and I think I'm like in season 2 now, but love it. Oh, she's so perfect. She's like just excellent. Deo. So that's how I know hers from, you know, Beetlejuice, of course. But anyway, so this Saturn ingress into Pisces is super a different vibe. And we've been talking about this. I think every monthly for all 12 zodiac signs for March is over 40 minutes for every single zodiac sign. So we really went in and talked to, like, this month. This is the month that everything changes, okay? You walk into March very different than how you walk out of March. And it's really, really significant. Give yourself a pat on the back, because even if you don't get these big bejeweled rewards, you'll know how far you need to go. And you'll know that you didn't do your homework. Okay, Saturn, the taskmaster, especially having been in these back-to-back Saturn ruled signs, is going to make us aware. It's going to make us aware of what we, you know, the less than perfect grades that we got. It's going to make us aware of what we missed over. So it's not like even if you pass the class, you're still going to get the I'm just feeling a different vibe. You're still going to get the notes of like, well, you passed, but you still need to do this, this, and this, or you're gonna fall off. You're not gonna make it. So it's like, I'm not saying never relax. I'm just saying that the attitude change is very significant with this full moon, because we have Mars in Gemini, which has all been about changing our attitudes and thinking differently. Even in the face of having all these different options, having kind of like the discernment and having the, I got really spacey with my nails this week, having the discernment, but also the care and the fortitude and the trust and the mental intuition. Claircognizance is a clear knowing to tune into that deeper responsibility we have with ourselves to be authentic and make different choices that reflect that moving forward. So it has not been easy. This month is going to have the last Mars-Neptune square, because it's so important to have your perspective on straight. People are just going to have very separating, divisive responses to changes that are happening. Sometimes I go into these archives, these historical archives, and I just read the newspaper. And I found in one of these newspapers, this guy wrote, I don't know if it was a column or if it was a guest piece, but he wrote this column on how carriages first came out and he was going on and saying that people were using them when they didn't really need them, and that they were taking them to walking distances, like you could walk and they're taking a carriage. And his whole thing, splashy page thing, was about his worry for society that we're going to over rely on carriages and get lazy. So it's like context and perspective is everything. So, you're going to have people that are looking at big changes and just always find the worst or see the worst in it. And then you're going to have people looking at these changes and think, you know what? I live to die another day. Let me just take the good nugget of, thank you, sir. Let me take let me be grateful for the little nugget of gold that's not a piece of shit, and try to be happy with that. And they're going to be a lot happier. It's going to be a lot happier. It's going to be a lot happier. Okay. So, what else was I going to say? So that's Saturn finishing up Aquarius. So like I said, there's probably going to be like one last big thing we need to do. One last big thing that could help us change our attitudes, or change how we see something, or change how we approach something, in the Gemini area of life. And it's like we do that, and then we really just get to work doing it, like building it, because Saturn moves like right away. And then, yeah, so it's like whatever comes up this week, try to keep perspective. But because of what this full moon is always like, emotions are brimming over. Everything feels really big. Everything feels like your life is on the line. Everything is going to feel desperate. Everyone's going to feel like, so I recommend taking a step back. And guys, I thought the Pisces party of last year was going to be some big moment for like film and television. And what did we get? We got the Johnny Depp trial. That was the thing that we were all, I mean, I don't know about you, but I was, if you go through my videos, I'm like, I was there right along supporting Johnny all day, every day. Rah, rah, Johnny. And, even through the ugliest parts, even through everything, to really show support. But it's like, that's what we got with Jupiter and Pisces. It was way more like litigious. And honestly, I learned a lot just watching that entire trial. So when Saturn moves into, we've got Neptune, the Sun, Mercury, and Saturn all in Pisces. So it's not like the Pisces party that it was, but it's whatever came out of that can be very grounded. It could finally be brought down into, a belief system that's not. This is like the Hierophant and the High Priestess, where the Hierophant is like standing up, sitting down, folding your hands, doing all of the things. The outer form of religion, people seeing you go to church, and oh my God, that part of it. And being known in society as like the churchy person, or, it's very society. Okay, it's that kind of like that. Whereas the High Priestess is whatever you believe spiritually in practice. It's the actual energy work. It's the quality of the prayer work. It's what you're actually doing. If you can physically do something with your spirituality. It's also the secrets, like knowing everything, the High Priestess. So this full moon can push out some details, because what I've noticed from August until now is all of these details coming out. With the Mars and Gemini and a Mars and Gemini person, maybe those details, it's kind of like the Knight of Swords, where it's like, it's a little bit fast in terms of the delivery comes out fast. So if someone's already suspicious of you, or they already want a reason to criticize you, or they don't like you and they're looking for a reason to not give you the benefit of the doubt, they might criticize your delivery. And then all of a sudden, the volcano erupts. So I would say steer clear of people that trigger you. I would say steer clear, delete voicemail, go to voicemail, block, or, all of your, don't let anyone reduce you to being upset. I love you guys so much. I'm just saying that when I'm writing I like, I don't want to be like interrupted. I got some, and I don't want to be interrupted. It's like, well, if I am being interrupted, it's like, are you solving the housing crisis? Or it's like, what are we going to talk about? Are we going to, or is this the reform that we all need? Are we solving some big issues right now? But it's like, it's just got to be, you know, I feel like Jack Nicholson in The Shining, where she's like just trying to give him some food or tea or something, and he's like, you know, it's like, not for me. You know, it's kind of like this weird. I think he does that in As Good as It Gets too. Yes, where he's like, love was, and then Greg Kinnear knocks on his door, and he's like, you know, it's kind of like that. So that's all. But like all of that momentum, as an example, like mental energy, mental momentum that I've got going, like I can't just stop it and then switch gears and then go right into talking about the astrology, this, especially this big astrology. So I apologize if I'm jumping all over the place. I'm still trying to switch over from that momentum to this momentum. But this full moon for you is going to maybe do that for you, where you might be like, this is all I want to do, but you have to like renegotiate your contract with your with the service people that do your lawns, and they're like asking for more, or they're saying that they can't do a certain date that you need, and it's like, this is the last conversation I need to have right now. I just want to ride my script, you know. It's like, it's kind of like that. So take care of what you have to take care of, and if you have to deliver anything fast and accurate, you're not responsible for other people's feelings. They are responsible for their feelings. And if it continues, then you got to make, you guys got to make some decisions about that. This doesn't always have to be cutting someone out of your life. This doesn't always have to be like, don't let people give you like these ultimatums, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't let things get like super dramatic. If they get super dramatic, try to walk away, which is something so clear in the Depp trial, where he was like, he tried to walk away. He tried to say, you know what? I'm just, I need some space. I need to like just think about some things. I just need some time. And she wouldn't let that happen. She listened to it, watch the trial again if you don't believe me. And that's such a huge red flag. So what I'll say about this is, if you need some time and space to think or to go away, don't let anyone make you feel like you can't, or guilt you into talking to them, or guilt you, manipulate you into answering to something. Because if you don't argue people's feelings, you can't argue someone's feelings. If they say, I feel like I need some time and space, that's what they need. You don't come back and say, well, that's because of XYZ. Like, no. And you might get that. People, guys, it's Mars and Gemini. We haven't even gotten to the Mars square Neptune yet. Like, people are going to be, you know what I say, boundaries are lovely. Because there's going to be something else that you want to get into. There's going to be something, you know, like the future's like waiting for you. And you're going to be like, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Do it. Whatever you want on the pizza's fine. Or like, to find mow the lawn on Tuesday instead of Thursday. Okay. Release me. You know, it could be, if you feel like kind of like that. So let's move on. We cannot move on because I forgot to talk about the trine to Uranus. The trine to Uranus, the full moon is trining Uranus in Taurus, and this is, oh, that's what I tried to start saying like 20 minutes ago. So the trine to Uranus, Uranus had we had this big push, this triple conjunction at the end of the summer. So this full moon talks to that point. So you can think about the end of summer. You know, for me, I took a great course. For you, it might have been, you know, something else. But just go through your camera roll, go through your emails, go through your texts, your DMs, and just see what you were thinking about and what you were really jazzed about, what was really exciting to you, what opened up your heart a lot at the end of summer. Because this full moon speaks to that, and it speaks to it in a very positive, easy flowing way. So I mean, I'm like never creatively blocked, but what the course has done for me is helped with, okay, so if there's in my brain, if there's like all these little departments and all these little people working all the little gears, of all the little different departments. It's like this creative department had like everybody working overtime, and it's like they sleep in shifts and they eat and they feed each other and they take really great care of each other, and there's like, it's the most well staffed, highly efficient running department, and they, like I said, they take great care of each other, and it's the biggest department that there is, right? Excellent. But they only take care of a part of the what's that, the line process, the production line, let's say. And so they pass off to like this other department, and this other department, oh, okay, they had some people that didn't know what they were doing, and they left. They had some vagrants that wandered in from another town. They had, okay, it's just not, the manager doesn't know what they're doing. It's like, it's it's a little bit not staffed well. They don't talk to each other really well. It's a skeleton crew, and they're kind of just like bumbling. And so for me, the course just like staffed that department with like 50 top tier people, and the work didn't pile up. The work had somewhere to go, and it just helps. Oh, you couldn't see that part. This is the other department, and it staffed that department really well. And so that creative department had a great department to receive all of that and to help process it. Because that skeleton crew, they were just letting things just kind of go on through to the next department. But maybe it all got printed, but there's like a department that still needed like to be staffed. A long round ass way of saying that this full moon in Virgo trining Uranus and Taurus is like helping you staff a very understaffed and neglected department in your life that was really exciting at the end of last year, that you want more of. You want to put more energy and effort into this department. Maybe with the ongoing Uranus-Saturn square of all of 2021 and 2022, you might not have known if it was a good idea. You could have doubted yourself. You could have had other responsibilities to other departments that you had to tend to first. The budget had to go to those departments first. But at this full moon, you're finally getting to populate that department in your brain, or like in your life. Okay, welcome Aries, sun signs, moon signs, and rising signs. You guys have this fullness happening in your 6th house of day-to-day work responsibilities. What I said earlier about how you show up to the moment, how you live your life in the moment, this is that for you. So you guys want to ask yourselves, how do you show up to your life moment to moment? Are you full of fear and anxiety? Are you full of optimism? Are you getting lost in the details? Are you missing the bigger picture? Are you taking good care of your health? There could be a health issue that you've had, mental health and or physical health issue that flared up at the end of summer last year, that you're now either resolving, you're finishing up the treatment, found a better doctor, or you are at least figuring out where you stand with the whole thing. Now, the T square to Mars in Gemini says that you've had to change your mind about some things. Maybe you wanted to do 100% holistic beginning to end, but you found a couple of wacko holistic doctors that hurt you more than helped you. So maybe this is a full moon where you're like, you know what, I'm gonna get diagnosed by like a medical professional, like a Western doctor. I'm gonna get the couple diagnoses and have them corroborate, get 2-3 opinions, but the treatment plan, I'm gonna go Eastern medicine, or I'm gonna go, but you might have been really resistant to that initial thing. Maybe you have a fear of hospitals, a sun in your 12th house. Maybe you have some irrational fears in regards to changing your mind. Also, not only about your health, but conflict in general. You've had to change your mind about how you see conflict, how you show up to conflict, and also, working out something that you're doing every day or something that you're involved in every day that doesn't exactly like all the time benefit you. You could be finishing up a job or a gig, or doing some kind of grunt work, babysitting, or working a part-time job, or something that you just didn't get like the appreciation for, the compensation for. And this could be when you just quit, or maybe they fire you, or you are this could be the last big conflict. Like this can also be something erupting in your neighborhood or with your siblings, or the local area. So just be careful there. Don't get drawn into any kind of conflicts that you see people fighting outside in your driveway. Just like run. Oh, God. It's just, okay, that means you're done. Okay, Taurus, sun signs, moon signs, and rising signs. Signs. This full moon is happening in your fifth house. This is a nice one of true love, dating, sex, romance, children, pregnancies, passion, play, everything that your heart just like opens up to easily and fully. There could be an ending or culmination with any of these ongoing things that you've been working on or through since, you know, late summer of 2022. There could even be some kind of big expense in your case with the Mars in your second house. This could be affecting what you're eating, drinking, and smoking, and in what quantities you're eating, drinking, and smoking. So this could be more of like an indulgence type of energy. So be careful you don't like overdo it there. This can also be that your friends could be extra expensive right now. So be careful if you've been trying to cut back, or if you've been trying to figure out like, you know, what are you willing to kind of spend your money on? What are you willing to invest in? What's more reflective of your personal interests? Where are your values? That's what's really been kind of difficult since the end of summer last year. It's like, well, that's just a reflection of how I feel about myself. So you know, your choices for things, you know, your friendship groups, your lovers, they may or may not reflect your values of how you value yourself, because you may be valuing yourself more now, or you may be valuing yourself differently now, and that's changing how you spend your money, but not just your physical money. It's also changing how you want to pour your energy into something. You know, maybe you want to make more time and room for your own creative pursuits, and on top of being a parent, and on top of holding a job, and on top of going to school. I don't know, but like this full moon for you is going to put your values and where your skills, talents, and abilities, your self-esteem, your physical body, very much on the spotlight for you personally, because this full moon trines Uranus in your sign. So you guys are one of the people that could be very unpredictable at this time, over, you know, from the 7th of March until the 21st of March. You guys could be specifically very unpredictable, because you guys have to do something that honors your subliminal self, your inner child, first and foremost, because of how you've changed how you value your inner child, your subliminal self. Your subconscious mind is 95% of your mind. And you've been on task trying to give it more love since the end of summer, trying to heal yourself, trying to feel better, trying to bring something into physical manifestation, a creative birth, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. Maybe for some of you, even this has to do with your physical creations, like your children. So, you know, with Saturn moving into your 11th house, this is also going to change the nature of your allies and your support. Now, I don't think this is going to be a big thing to worry about, because having Pisces on your 11th house says that your allies and your supporters, they're emotional and they sort of go through phases anyway. So I don't think you should, like, if you're trying to start a YouTube channel, or if you're, let's say, so I know a creator that got super huge for doing analytics, like YouTube analytics, to help channels grow. And she's over this past 6 months, I think since late August actually, she's been changing she doesn't want to do that anymore. She wants to do, I think it's like tiny home building, like something like that. So she's seeing a huge drop in her, you know, subscribers and her views and all that stuff. So don't be afraid of, I mean, look at what I do. Like, the YouTube algorithm doesn't know what to do with me. So, like, don't be afraid to change, and you know, change and grow, and let the true blue allies remain and support you for you, whatever you're doing, and just, you know, because the Saturn in Pisces is going to bring those people forward. It's going to make your allies and your support system really, really strong, but only the ones that are like really really in it for the long haul. So don't do as your guide is what I always say. Okay, Gemini, this full moon is happening in your fourth house of home and hearth and kith and kin, and your T-square is happening on you guys. So you guys are the ones that have this very frustrating, very long Mars retrograde. So you guys, if you have been thwarted, your plans toppled over again and again in very ungracious ways since the end of summer of 2022. That's on purpose. Universe wants you to see how you can get what you want differently. You've had to change your tactics. You've had to change your opinions of VIPs and higher ups and your father figures. You've had to change your ideas about them and what you can expect of them. They could have denied you certain things. They could have just disgraced themselves in front of you and you lost respect for them. I mean, there could be a lot of different things because this is a very personal full moon for you. So there could be something culminating or ending with either mother or mother-father issues. And you may even, because you have Uranus in your 12th house, Gemini, you may get such a great, wonderful insight into seeing how these subliminal patterns of you acting like your father or acting like your mother have actually self-sabotaged you in any area of life because it's in your first house. You could really see how it has estranged you from a precious relationship. You can see how it has self-sabotaged you, making beyond a certain income number, a salary every single year, or how all of your relationships end the same, or if you have karma with your children and how that's playing out is similar to something like that. So whatever this full moon is bringing to you, there could even be changes happening in your family life, changes in your living situation, roommate situation, that could bring all this home and just show you that I want you to feel empowered that you can make a different decision and act differently. Because it depends on if you have anything in Taurus. Like if you're a Gemini with a Mars in Taurus, you pick a fight with a Mars in Aries, you get a fist fight. You pick a fight with a Mars in Taurus, you get a standoff. So, if there's any standoff energy in your life, like this full moon could help like lodge some of that loose because of that trine to Uranus and Taurus. So let it all break up and break away. Let the truth change your life. Okay, because this Pisces at the top of your chart with Saturn moving into Pisces, like this, it is time to be the parent and not expect anything from the parent. It is time to be the boss, not ask permission from the boss. It is time to, you know what I'm saying? So Saturn going through the 9th house has really put a lot of pressure on your integrity, on your belief systems, and the back-to-back Saturn signs since 2017. You've had to work through so much trauma and so much baggage. So I'm looking forward to this full moon for you guys, even though it could still be hard because of the T-square to Mars in your sign. You guys, more than anyone, could be very liable to make the wrong move, to physically take the wrong action, and then you get this instant karma, this instant kickback, because Saturn's just moved into Pisces, and it can start to show you, if you go to these authorities, if you go to your mom and dad, if you go to the boss, they might not be there for you. They might not support you or support you as much as you want or in the way that you want if you haven't taken the right actions and changed your attitude and behavior since late summer 2022. Because the Saturn into this Pisces house could show you what you want to grow into, but if we're not using it right, or if we're trying to get away with something, it's going to show you where you're naive and where you're not taking something seriously enough, and where you are trying to cut corners, and show you that corners cannot be cut here. That's all. Cancer, Sun, Moon, Risings. I'm a Cancer rising. We have this full moon in our 3rd house of neighbors, of communications and meetings, and local area neighborhoods. But this is also the mind and the intellect and the writing that we do, writing. But the Sun being in the 9th house is like publishing, writing. So the 3rd house of writing would be like you have your blog, you have your website, but the 9th house is more like publishing, where you reach traditional publishing, where you reach bigger, broader audiences and people. And so this full moon could bring the end or the finish to a creative, it could be a creative project, it could also just be like a paper or something that you're turning in. But the thing is that this T-square is happening, it's pointing right to Mars and Gemini in our 12th house of secrets, sorrows, and self-undoing. So dramatic. So we're definitely going to be tired. So I was definitely tired. You know, this, I'm recording this on Sunday. I had to work this weekend, so it was like a very tiring. I usually get to sleep 16 hours from Friday to Saturday, and I didn't get to this weekend because I had stuff to do. So I took a little midday nap Sunday. So but then I just want to write my script. So it's like, you know, that's, so we're feeling some weird tension, you know, psychologically, or, you know, where we need more downtime. We could want more downtime. We could want to just like run away to the bed and breakfast, or just stay home, take a staycation, and, you know, read and write. But it's like, there's something else that we've got to do. Maybe, you know, that's like, this could be like the final big push for you, Cancer, Sun, Moon, Risings, where you need to confront something that you've been doing that doesn't help you, or you could also confront something that you've been changing. Because here's the thing, from January to the end of March, if people push forward things that are really not authentic and in alignment and like great ideas, they've been falling apart and they've been weakening, getting very weak. Whereas the things that create and strengthen your mental health, 12th house here, your spirituality, then you've gotten stronger, your coping skills have gotten better. For me, I think writing is very behind the scenes, so I would even read like a screenwriter to be like a 12th house thing, because we're not like the face of anything, you know. I'm not going to go out and be the face of anything as a screenwriter. That's like for the actors. So, you know, that's how it is for me, is really is really doing a lot of that stuff, like a lot of behind the scenes stuff. So for some Cancers, this could even be the time when you reveal or you publicize, like, this is what I've been working on, this is what I've been writing, this is what I've been thinking about. Some of you have been wanting to relocate, and this might be the time over from the 7th of March until the 21st where you announce that to your friends and family. You say, I'm going to relocate to this other country, I'm going to relocate to move, I'm going to, you know, whatever. It could be some other kind of like admission or some kind of secret that comes out that you are like, you're talking about it. You could be talking about subliminal things. You could be talking about spiritual topics. You could be talking about, you know, all of that stuff, or you could take a very keen interest in these things. You guys know, the telekinesis have just been really a big thing for me this year specifically, but I mean all years, but like breakthrough, Saturn, Sun, Cazimi. So I'm really excited and looking forward to this full moon for that one specific reason, because for me it's like meditation plus doing that kind of thing. So, you know, whatever you're interested in spiritually and emotionally, physically, mentally, like, they can all connect here, because you have the Pisces stuff happening in your 9th house, which is astral travel. I think it's also remote viewing. I might have a blend of that, but, you know, you are craving broader horizons, you are craving new different experiences, you are craving higher knowledge of some kind, and that's what we can expect. And this is what I'm really excited for, is Saturn moving into Pisces, because it's going to be a concretizing, like physically manifesting something spiritual. And that's how I would describe telekinesis, is, well, this is how it's been described, and I completely agree with telekinesis, is you're taking the lightning from above, and that lightning has to have a conductor. It has to have somewhere to go. And that is what receives the lightning. But the lightning has to have a relationship to Earth. It has to have a relationship to that conductor. So this is what I'm most excited about for Saturn and Pisces, is that the lightning, the psychic ability, gets its conductor, and it's going to be very exciting. I'm foreshadowing so much right now because I know what's coming up. So without the conductor, and I will talk more about this, without the conductor, The lightning is just up in the air. It's hearing voices. It's knowing things before they happen. It's getting information from deceased loved ones that have passed. But with Saturn in Pisces, we're going to ground that, and we're going to see some visible, tangible results. We're going to see it physically. It's going to physically manifest. And it can very much change our belief systems by the time we're done in, I think it's 25. It's February the 13th. I think it's 2025. It's like the day before Valentine's Day. And I just think it's so interesting because like right now we have Saturn in Aquarius about to move into Pisces, and everyone's feeling all the pressure of the last little bit of Saturn in Aquarius. And it's going to be the same thing except Saturn in Pisces on Valentine's Day. So what kind of pressure are people going to feel like they're under on Valentine's Day 2.5 years from now, or 2 years from now, a couple years from now? So that's going to be kind of funny. So just, you know, for you, Cancer, just go through whatever comes up psychologically, healing, family secrets, whatever comes up. This is where you need to learn how to surrender. This is where you need to learn to just let it go. This is where you need to learn to just, it's okay to take a nap in the middle of the day. Because that's what we need. That's what we needed. You know, like whatever you need, you've been needing to have a different mental attitude towards all this stuff too. So for you, it's a different attitude towards mental health, a different attitude towards your subconscious, a different attitude towards your karma, a different attitude towards what you're doing that could have undermined you. Or, I'm seeing this a lot with Cancer, Sun, Moon, Risings, secret enemies. So, we have had secret enemies really trying to hurt us since the end of summer 2022. So this is going to be the last big hurrah where someone tries to like take us down behind the scenes, an enemy that is hidden, that is secret, and that could be in play from the 7th of March until the 21st of March. But don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Do your protection stuff. Book a session with me if you need more help, but don't, that's the last thing you should do, is worry about anything. Because this Mars in your 12th is like, change your attitude, change what you're doing, because there's something that you're doing too. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, don't give all of your attention and energy into that. Pull it into your spirituality, pull it into your mentality, strengthen your mentality, your psychology. And if you're a writer, write, because you have such great writing energy. Okay, Leo, sun signs, moon signs, and rising signs, welcome to your full moon happening in your second house. Full moon in your second house from the 7th of March to the 21st of March. This is going to be a doozy. This is in your house of money and the finances and self-esteem and self-worth. Your values are going to be really tested and put to a crescendo at this point. And this can get a little messy because you have this 8th house, Pisces stellium. You're going to have Saturn moving in hours after the full moon. So there's some critical thing happening in your relationships, your one-to-one relationships, your partnerships, your relationship to the public, your relationship to your clients. And once the strongest ones survive, or you show up to them as mature as possible and save them or whatever, or concretize them or solidify them, you know, make some kind of promise or commitment with them so that they can go, you know, further, then you move on into organizing the responsibilities, organizing like, okay, we made the commitment of the relationship. That's the 7th house. Now we're going to decide how that plays out. Are we going to have a shared bank account? Do you have your own bank account? I have my own bank account. Are you going to do laundry and I do dishes? Are we going to do our own laundry and dishes? That kind of thing. So I like this for Leos because this full moon in your second house can be such a nice thing for self-esteem. If something has you feeling really like full and happy and content because of this, because you've got great relationships. Now they are T-squaring Mars in Gemini, which is really, really interesting. Oh my God, again. Which is really, really interesting because this T-square for you has Mars in Gemini. So that is saying that friends could have changed since late summer 2022. You could have had friends that were not happy for you. You could have had friends betray you. You could have had friends that set you up for failure in some way. You could have had friends that were misleading or outright lying to you. You could have had, yeah, you could have just had friends like attacking you, or, you know, at the very least, you could have had friends like getting very competitive with you. There's a lot of competition here. So you've been challenged to either make different friends or meet different people, or for some of you, this is also looking at your future, looking at the future of your life differently. So since late summer of 2022, you've probably had to get some different ideas about your, you know, just like the bigger vision of your life. And then the people around you either support that and they're really great friends, or they are maybe a little bit intimidated by it, or they're not supportive, or, you know, so, but with the pressures when it come, you're finishing up these relationship lessons. So relationships should get easier. They really, you know, the lesson part should come off. But so this last full moon from the 7th until the 21st is going to say, you know, okay, we're done figuring out what I have to contribute and what I'm ready to contribute, and assessing the other person for what they're offering, what they can contribute, and reconciling and making sure that it's an equal give and take, that it's fair, that it's equanimous, you know. So this full moon could like show you some friends that they don't have your best interests at heart, or they're competitive with you, or there could be some weirdness there, especially if there's been like a friends with benefits situation. There could definitely be some weirdness that kind of blows up at this point. Some of you could be making some kind of financial commitment to something that you want to last a long time. That would be like for your vision, though, for your vision of the future. Now, the fact that the full moon trines Uranus in the 10th house is really cool, because whatever you are either spending your money on or whatever is giving you like a really nice, encouraging boost of self-esteem, it's really good for your career. So you could be more visible at this time, you could be more in the spotlight, but it depends on which way this goes. Like, this is just you fighting with your friends, and this is going to be a little bit expensive. If you're fighting with the friends, like there might be something there. But if you should be feeling really, really great about yourself. And that's where you should put your energy, into the relationships, into the sharing of those relationships that have you feeling really strong and confident, full of self-belief, and really excited about your future. Virgo, Sun, Moon, Risings, I'm so excited for you guys. My mother's a Virgo, so really excited for this full moon for all the Virgos. This is your full moon, so you guys started something up, a personal Madonna moment of reinventing yourself. I'll let it to you. Late summer of 2022, and now you are finishing this up in a really strong way, because you get a full moon like this every year, but the difference this year is that it's T-squaring Mars in Gemini, which is there because of the retrograde. So what does that mean? It means that you've been thinking about your career very differently, and you've had to. That's been the point since late summer 2022. And you've had a couple squares with Neptune, and that has made like seeing your partners or the people in your life a little bit foggy, a little bit hazy. They could have like misrepresented themselves. They could have gotten you excited about something that wasn't real. They could, I mean, just, you know, weird random things, down to very like purposefully misleading things in intimate one-to-one relationships and partnerships. This could have been not only with family and lovers and committed partners, but also with business and people that you're working with, your clients, your associates. It could have just been, you know, they could have been where they don't know, where they're not sure about something. You could have been like, well, I don't know yet. Give me some time. So this is a full moon that brings it all out. And you may feel the impetus, like you're ready to do something in your career that is very self-motivated, and it's something that you've had to change your attitude towards or change your opinion about since late summer of 2022. This does put some kind of stress on some of the relationships, not all of them. It'll put stress on the relationships that don't support your new career, that don't support your new, this is like a rebrand. This is like someone that's like, I'm gonna rebrand, or like, you know, the person I know that's changing their they're making a big, and I say I subscribe for those tips, for those like usually you, here's the YouTube algorithm and this is what you do for that and that, and like honestly you guys, like I was way better just like not even trying with any of that. But like, you know, she started to do these other videos and I stay on because I like her and I want to support her. You know, I don't watch like every single video. I liked how she talked about just YouTube and how YouTube works and how all that stuff works. But, you know, I'll click in for, you know, a few videos, but it's just, it's like, it's definitely like a different vibe. You are trying to rebrand in a similar way, not really like the social media thing, but just what you feel like you want to be talking about in the video, or what you want to be doing when you show up to the thing. So it's not quite like the example I gave previously. It's a little bit different, where you guys are ready for being known in a way that you hadn't previously really given much seriousness to, possibly because of what other people think or what other people thought, or something had to do with the power, you gave too much power away to another person, or maybe the power just was that way, maybe it just was in the hands of the other person. So this is a full moon where you get to finish up possibly even some conflict, because Saturn was in your 6th house. So you've been grinding something out, you've been working really hard for since 2017, but specifically since December 2020. 2020 to 2021 December was a little bit easier for you because you had some additional support. You could have hired helpers, you could have had people mowing your lawns, you could have had just hired help to help you with things. But the past couple of years it's been stressful, it's been strained, and that is because of the squares to Uranus in your 9th house. So something's been coming up. This is almost like your coworker has a different political belief than you do, and it didn't matter, but because they talk about it so much when you're trying to do your work, it's been bothering you. That's kind of what I'm seeing. Like you're done with that. You're done arguing about it. You're done caring so much about it. You're done with that. If you believe whatever you want to believe, you live in your own little world. It's not up to me to convince you of anything. I don't care. I'm not invested in convincing you of anything because I'm secure in what I believe. That's kind of the attitude you want to take. Walk away from the conflict, because you're about to really give form and structure to the best of the relationships that have made it through. So there's been a lot of, maybe I would say Pisces party was last year, it was like April 2022, the spring. So anytime in April and May, there could have been, as early as that time, people showing up on your radar, just like a lot of people, a lot of different people. Maybe you even started a social media account and started meeting people there, but something showed up on the radar as early as April, May of 2022. And then now there's a quality of that. Maybe they're spiritual. Okay, here's my spiel for all Virgo Sun Moon risings. Partners for you, one-to-one relationships. The best that they're going to be are creative, spiritual, artistic, and healing. They care about healing, they care about peace, they care about kumbaya, oneness. They just want peace and serenity. They're artistic. They could be very quiet or very sweet people. They could be very like just gentle is what I'm trying to say. They could be very, very gentle. That's the highest vibe of your partnerships. The same energy, but making the worst possible choices of these natural partnerships for you. They're going to be drug addicts. They're going to be alcoholics. They could be codependent people. They could guilt you. They could be escapists, where they escape responsibility. They're fly by the night. What's that? Oh my God. Is it in Casablanca where he goes, my allegiance goes with the wind. It just blows with the wind. Whatever direction the wind blows is where my allegiance goes. Oh, he had such good lines in that movie. He really did have, all the lines are really great, but his were just so, they hit so nicely. So, you know, those kinds of partnerships are going to be, or they could be like martyrs. You can attract people that are like, they martyr themselves for something, and it's up to you to say, I never asked you to martyr yourself. I never asked, no one did. I didn't ask you to martyr yourself. No one else asked you to martyr yourself. So get out of here with that. They could, okay, because that Pisces energy could be martyrs, but no one asked you to go through any kind of pain. But that's part of the codependency where they want you to take responsibility for their feelings. Don't let that happen. Because this full moon's about you. This full moon is about the Virgo feeling super Virgo, superhuman, super Virgo. So, you know, the partnerships are going to be more concrete and more stable, because hours after your full moon, Saturn moves into this sign of Pisces, which is your house of partnership. So it's going to help you trim as early as March the 7th, trim the people that, let's say they have great intentions. Even with the greatest of intentions, people may fall away because they don't have the stamina, because they don't take care of themselves. I don't know. But Saturn in Pisces is only going to bring you and cultivate relationships, and really the ones that are already established that you have deep bonds with, they could get so much deeper. They could be so much more enriching for you over the next 2.5 years. And if there's any new people that are going to be coming into your life, they're not going to be fly by the night people, and you are only going to be interested in people that you guys are in it to win it, in it for the long run. You're kind of be a little bit more interested in stable long-term relationship kind of commitments. So meeting people, they'll be more on that wavelength, or they won't, they'll just fall off. So, you know, this T square to Mars in your 10th house does say that you're making some really important career decisions. This is pretty cool. So you as a parent, you're showing up differently as a parent, you're showing up differently as, you know, a CEO of your own company, you are climbing the corporate ladder, or at the very least, you're just making some decisions about how you want to be known. So even if you get to work on this later, you know, you might have the knowing, and you might have the impetus of knowing what to do from the 7th of March until the 21st. But you'll probably be doing things about it. You'll probably be, you know, taking like physical action. Even in the weekend leading up to the 7th, you're ready to take decisive action. So the trine to Uranus is absolutely wonderful in your 9th house. However, you are coming into your fullness is really harmonizing with what you believe in your integrity, what you believe about yourself, about your life, about other people's lives. And this is helping to conclude the education that you've been taking on and studying since the end of summer 2022 in this very area. So Virgo, Sun, Moon, Risings, you guys have had this like adrenaline shot of this energy last summer when you had the triple conjunction in Taurus in your 9th house, which is what rules all of this for you. And so you've had to let yourself be more imaginative and be more flexible and be more open-minded to whether this is opening up your mind through higher education like college or university, or through travel and learning about the world through travel and talking with different people, or through the internet, through anything kind of online that you're seeing. Something has had you open up to a different or a new way of seeing life. And that's what's exciting. So a lot of you are like, I don't know if you're traveling or if you're publishing something, this would be a higher publishing where that's happening for you, like not self-publishing. This would be like somebody else publishes you. That could be coming together really nicely for Virgos at this time, and helping, especially if that's connected with a career, helping you do something really exciting and fun with your career. And it looks like there's lots to enjoy for the Virgo, Sun, Moon, Risings. Libra, Sun, Moon, and Risings is Virgo full moons happening in your 12th house of secrets, sorrows, and self-undoing. It's opposing the Sun in Pisces, and together they are T-squaring Mars in Gemini in your 9th house. Okay, so for you guys, this is going to be a little bit difficult Um, Only because of the T square to Mars, because you have a full moon here every year in your 12th house of secret sorrows and self undoing. So every year you get this sort of like cleansing spiritually. And so you're going to get that. You're still going to get this opportunity to cleanse yourself spiritually and sort of air out any secrets. Could be some secrets that come out that you tell or that other people might tell for you. And that can go either way. Like, oh my God, right? Now, this might be a little bit, this might lead you, whatever happens at this full moon for you, could lead you into a difficult time. Only because the full moon happens and then Saturn changes into Pisces hours later. So Pisces is your sixth house of daily work and routines and what you're doing with your day, moment to moment, showing up to your life. And then Saturn moving there could say that you're in for some really hard work, working on your health, working on your mentality, working, doing grunt work with coworkers, also doing grunt work, or really taking the mental health seriously where you start to get therapy or do something that's helpful to, I wish I had other things other than therapy, but like, because that's not everyone's solution, but it's going to be something for your mental health, physical, emotional, whatever, all the health boxes. The difficult part is that they're T-squaring Mars in Gemini in your ninth house. So since the end of summer last year, you've had to really confront some beliefs that you've had that are being proven, showing you in your face, being proven are not right. They're not correct. They're being disproven. They're being challenged and they're losing the challenges. Okay. This could even be that you've been fighting with a mentor. You've been fighting with, um, someone that maybe they're disappointing you. I don't know. There's something weird happening there. Maybe you're competitive with them. Maybe they're competitive with you, or something weird happening there. Now, even the trine to Taurus is sort of like, because the trine to Taurus is telling me that's your eighth house, by the way. So you guys have definitely, you're going to be dealing with more of the quick, unexpected changes in your life. You're going to have more of that. This full moon could be one of these triggers where the full moon is going to trigger something unexpected that happens outside of your control. And like I said, this could be something like a secret that gets out, or something that something that just changes your view on the world, on life, that you're just not comfortable with. It really upsets you, or it just really angers you. It could even be something political. It could be something has you really, like, it's hitting hard. It's something, it's like something really getting pushed into your awareness. This could, now for some of you, this might just be that, like, if you're traveling, this could be really harsh travel where you're tired, your bones ache, and you just want like a hot meal and a hot shower and a warm bed, and you don't get any of that for hours and hours. It could even be something a little bit more mundane. You could even just be finishing up some kind of major coursework, or turning in some big tests, that kind of thing. But you're still going to be plunged into healthcare central when Saturn moves into Pisces. Okay, Scorpio, welcome, willkommen. You guys have this full moon happening in your 11th house of friends, groups, and associations, and alliances, allies that you connect with because you have a shared sense of humanity. It's opposing the sun in Pisces in your 5th house of true love and dating, sex, romance, passion, play, children, fun, all of the creative births of your mind, your heart, your physical body. In some cases, not all cases, they're together T-squaring Mars and Gemini in your 8th house of trauma and baggage and other people's energies, other people's resources. And let's dive in. So you guys are finishing up some kind of exchange that you've had with friends, groups, associations, where it wasn't always correct. It wasn't always on point, or you had trouble trusting them. You had an issue. It's like you've been trying to learn how to, it's like you've been learning and practicing how to connect and share with other people in the right way, and but that's required you to have a different attitude towards these people and towards these relationships and towards these situations. So you've likely been pretty triggered since the end of last summer until now, with Mars moving through your 8th house and then going retrograde there. You've probably had to deal with a lot of baggage, a lot of issues, a lot of trauma, a lot of even things that just happen in your life that have already happened in the past. If it happened really fast, you know, the kid that comes home and sees their sibling dead on the floor, or the kid that comes home and sees their parent, you know, deceased on the floor, you know, like that's a traumatic event. That's like in one moment your life is changed forever, and you can never go back to that ignorance. You can never go back to that life where you thought whatever. You know what I'm saying? Those moments are in the 8th house. So you've had moments like that that you're trying to process and that you're trying to deal with, that's been aggravated since late summer until March the 25th in your 8th house. This has also affected your joint assets, your real estate, your investments, your shared monies with other people. This has affected a lot of different things for you. Your sexuality could have been affected as well. So this full moon is going to help you bring a fuller vision of your life, where you can see yourself better connecting with your allies, your friends, your comrades, connecting better with your children, with your lovers, your romantic partners, or your small business, connecting in a way that's really, really good for both of you and equally beneficial. And there may be something, now you may be disconnecting from some of these people with the T² to Mars. Like everyone could be disconnecting from some of this stuff with this T² to Mars. So you might be finally letting go and shedding baggage and issues that have prevented you from getting closer to allies and friends, or have been preventing you from getting closer to prospective lovers and dating and, you know, romantic partners. This can also be your pets as well. That it has been pets that have been, you know, especially healing, or even children that have been especially healing, that have been preventing you from connecting in a deeper way with your animals, your pets, or your children. So, you know, the full moon trining Uranus and Taurus in your 7th house is so nice. Like this is probably more so you guys getting in a deeper relationship, a deeper connection with a friend that becomes a business partner, a friend that becomes a marriage partner, a friend that becomes a best friend. You know, this is probably going to be bringing to light some stuff that you're going to deal with over the next couple of weeks from the 7th till the 21st. But after that, you get, you know, some shiny new relationships, you know, some great support, and you get to leave the baggage behind. You know, okay, I did that, fine, we're done. And then Saturn moving into Pisces is so exciting for you guys, because you guys can expect any of the creative ideas that you have for children, for business, for love. It can all get made real. You can ground it down. The lightning has the relationship with the conductor. You can ground it down and you can make it real. So I see you guys, maybe even you tried to get loans and they never worked out. You couldn't get support from others at this time too. This could have also been like banking and financial institutions in trouble with, you know, anything that you share with other people. It could have been really fraught with conflict. After this phases you out of that, you confront your own fears and blockages, then you will have an easier time sharing with other people, and you'll have an easier time other people sharing with you. So working through the emotional blockage is going to help you with any of the financial stuff that comes up, okay? And I like it because this could even be that you guys collaborate, you and another person collaborate on something artistic or, you know, creative, or small business. So it looks really fun. I like it. Sagittarius, sun signs, moon signs, and rising signs, welcome to common. You guys have this full moon happening in your 10th house of career and father figures and authority and VIPs, and it's very visible public in your chart. It's opposing the sun in your 4th house of home and hearth, kith and kin. Together they are T-squaring, forming tense angles to Mars and Gemini, your 7th house of one-to-one relationships and partnerships. So you guys are finishing up some work that you've been trying to do since late summer of 2022 in the realm of relationships. So all of my Sages, sun signs, moon signs, and rising signs, you've had to look at relationships differently. You've had to figure out a different mentality to show up to your relationships in. And there's been squares to Neptune in your fourth house that have been rocking you emotionally, that have maybe triggered some fears or triggered some paranoia, triggered some any kind of residual things that you had held on to. Other people could have triggered that and not even known it. So with this Mars in your seventh house, you'll be very happy to get that out by March 25th, because you may be feeling more combative. The other person could be feeling more combative, but this is more so about you showing up to relationships differently in a way that, you know, helps to support you. Because for you, Mars is also a ruler, ancient ruler of your 12th house of secrets, sorrows, and self-undoing. So, you know, you could have been showing up and self-sabotaging in relationships. It could have just been like a really messy thing. So this is like, because you have the full moon in your 10th house, you're so public and visible, you just really want to make sure that you're making different, better decisions, that you're not falling where you've fallen before in relationships, maybe because of some kind of self-sabotaging thing or some kind of baggage or something. But people can see it too with this full moon in the 10th house. Like, it's very, very, all of the mutable signs, this is very public for you guys. So Sagittarius, Virgo, Gemini, Pisces, all of you guys, this is happening either, this is visible for you guys. So, but yeah, Sag, this is very visible for you. So you could be having some kind of peak moment professionally for you. You could also be ending and walking away from something. But you know, with this, with the T square to Mars, I just don't like that it looks a little bit combative with like relationships. So I would just really think twice and just really assess, because a full moon is so dramatic, it feels like everything is on the line. Just don't make any decisions and lash out or hurt anyone that you, or you know what I'm saying? Like, don't, you might be feeling extra sensitive about being so visible. You might be feeling extra sensitive as a parent. Maybe someone knocks your parenting style, or says, hey, you should have this on your kid, and you just like overreact. You know, don't do that. You know, or don't lash out at your partner because they said, oh, you didn't bring the bib or something. Like, don't, you know, it could be something like for you as a parent. You know, it could be you lashing out at people in your home life. It can be you lashing out at people in the career space, or your or your audience. You could have, if you're on social media, their audience could have been a little bit more engaged, but maybe more agitated, or you could have been more agitated. So just understand that you've been trying to look at relationships differently, how you show up to relationships and how you behave in relationships, maybe even how you start some relationships, or how you, I would say, how you show up in relationships behind closed doors too. You might be more, you might have been more argumentative, more nitpicky, more critical from late summer until now. But that's just going to be reflective of some other stuff that you've got that may not have anything to do with whatever it is that you're really dealing with. So, you know, this full moon for you could make you feel like you've got all the information that you need to move on from something, maybe a relationship, or like a family relationship, like a family situation, or a home or living situation. So just make sure, with Saturn moving into Pisces, just make sure that you're being really responsible and taking care of all of the details, and just that you've got your head on straight, because Saturn leaving Aquarius has been trying to change your intellect anyway. So having Mars in Gemini for 7 months in the relationships, it's added more to that. You've had to think differently across the entire board, but then there's been this emphasis on trying to think differently and how to act differently in relationships since late summer 2022. When Saturn moves on, you'll know where you stand in your communications. You'll know how far you have to go in changing your thought process. But you should also get rewards for whatever you put into it. If you did go to therapy, if you did I don't know, understand about yourself. If you did change your mind and change how you think about things or change how you speak, how you communicate, if you know, but you're going to get what you put in just like the rest of us, then you're going to start to feel a lot more responsibility in the home, family, roommates, maybe also in the career as well, but you're going to feel it very viscerally first at home. And the trine, this full moon does trine your sixth house. So what I do like about this, take a look at late summer 2022. There was this big energy infused into your daily life, what you're doing every day and how you're showing up moment to moment, and giving it some spice. So I feel like this full moon is probably going to be like a different, like doing something different daily that's going to help your career. Okay. So it looks like you're making some kind of changes. You might be doing some kind of like rebrand, but be really careful because this could bring there's something weird with partnerships. So it's like you might be weird, the weird one, or the other person might be the weird one. Like there's something, take the competition, take that out. Like make sure that you clean your side of the street and then you pick the right people to be in connections with and relationships with. So if you could just do those two things, it should be fine. And it could be very energizing, it could be really great. But if you're still working through some of these things, if you're still working through anger, resentment, cattiness, bullying, if you're still working through criticalness, criticizing, if you're still working through, like, I don't know, Mars and Gemini stuff, then this is going to be a little bit harder, and then you're going to feel the Saturn and Pisces a lot more. So try to cultivate, what can you change about your daily life to enhance your career? You know, this might be that you hire an assistant. This can be where you bring on additional help. This could be where you take better care of yourself physically. Maybe you go to the gym in the mornings. Maybe you have a shake for breakfast. I don't know, but it could be something like that. So I would just take a look at what can be really helpful to you, because you can make those changes and implement them. And for some of you, it might even be through the tough love of a partner. So maybe that Mars and Gemini partner of yours has been telling you what you don't want to hear, but you need to hear since late summer 2022, and you're just like, you're finally coming around to it, and you're finally going into like, you're going to go to the parenting classes that your spouse has been harping on you about taking since late summer 2022, and you're like, fine, I'm going to do it. I'll look at this differently. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be something like that. So try to see it that way. And if there's something different, like if there's a job ending, it looks like it's going to free up a lot of time for you, where you're going to be able to do something. You're just going to have a lot more time, and you're going to be feeling more free with your day, which is always nice. Okay, Capricorn, we are doing this full moon in Virgo in our 9th house of foreign experiences or foreign travel and foreigners, but also like mentors and people that we can learn from. This is also higher publishing. Any way that you expand your mind and expand your belief systems through expanding your horizon is covered here. So that could be through travel, it could be through higher education, doesn't have to be. It's also astral travel. And there's something coming together here for us. So it's opposing the sun in Pisces in our 3rd house of local areas, local neighborhood stuff. They are together T-squaring Mars in Gemini in our 6th house. This is where I've been saying that there's so much that I want to like, that I've been doing and doing differently about like my daily, the daily, like just showing up to my moments, and just all of those things have been reworked so much since late summer. And a lot of that has had to do with the triple conjunction in Taurus, because if you think back to late summer, Caps, it was like August or July, I don't remember, maybe the end of July, early August, I think, where we had the triple conjunction in Taurus in our 5th house. So I love this for us, because this is like, you know, for me, it was diving into this, you know, screenwriting comedy course, and it's just been so fun. And so, you know, think back to your life, like what was going on, and it was, you know, it was like a sudden big kind of thing for me, like to just like jump in like that. And, you know, for me, I'm not risk averse. I'm kind of the opposite. Like I'll just jump in. I have a high tolerance for risk. And so that's kind of how it works. Like if you have like a low tolerance of risk, you play it safe more often, but you miss opportunities. Whereas if you're like me, you have a high tolerance for risk, you don't miss any of the opportunities, but they don't all work out. So as long as you can cover yourself, then you're going to be okay. So I'm really happy that I went with this. I'm really happy. It's been like oodles of fun. So so this full moon in your ninth house is finishing some kind of education, either through conventional means like a course or through the course of life. You're finishing something up, you're wrapping it up. This can even be having to do with some kind of litigious situation that you are reconciling, that you're resolving. Could be publishing, like on a higher level publishing. And there's something changing about our day. So I'm really hoping that this full moon just like tells me like my schedule, because it's just been changing so much, and like it's just been changing a lot. So since like about late summer of 2022, and so me personally, I'm hoping that I know what my schedule will be a little bit better, but like we'll see. There's so many things that I want to like incorporate, so we'll see what goes on. But yeah, it's also like health stuff. So I have also been trying to like eat healthier, and it's been working, so I've been doing better with it. So this will probably be like a nice little jump start into that. But I'm more so looking forward to just, I don't know, I've never had like a sleep schedule, so I'd like to get, like little things like that. So what else? For some of you guys can be relocating. That could be really fun. That could, put you in a whole different situation or a whole different place to live. That could be, fun. But this is also a conflict house. Like Mars in the sixth house is conflict. And guys, I have been dodging conflict and dodging bullies and dodging all of that since my whole life. But like, since looking at all this stuff, like looking at all of these transits and stuff, like that's why we came out with the protection box for Halloween, because I'm like, okay, I'm not the only one that's gonna need this. So it's like, it's just been like, oh my god, leave me alone. I just want to write my screenplay. She's brilliant. She's absolutely brilliant on Schitt's Creek. Happy birthday, Catherine O'Hara. I did it. Cringy. Anyway, so, but yeah, so it's just like, I'm sure we're gonna get some kind of like, I don't know, some shot in the arm of like, this is what we're doing, this is what's happening, this is, but this is also for Caps, having some kind of resolution with our view on life. Okay, the ninth house is your integrity. It's you taking all the trauma and all the baggage that you went through in the eighth house and forming a philosophy out of that. So it's like we get some really great details, or we get some great information that we use to strengthen and further add to our philosophy on life. And that's going to change. That's something like that is going to change how we show up to the day, or how we negate conflict, how we evade conflict, or, how something happens. So, this can also have some stress or some additional focus and attention onto people that work for us, co-workers, managers, immediate supervisors. This can even be the end of some kind of big conflict with these people, the end of, conflict in the workplace, the end of some kind of just conflict-ridden situation. So, yay for that. So the trine, the full moon in Virgo and our ninth house trines over to Uranus and Taurus. I love this. I love this so much. I'm really looking forward to this because, like for instance, because I'll just like start writing, like it's like in pieces. There's pieces, there's scenes, there's scraps, these are just my books. These aren't even like my writings, but it looks the same. It looks just like stacks of notebooks and stuff. So it's like, I'm hoping that this full moon and gives me some extra, like, I don't know, some extra time or something that I can put even more into it. But it's like a very organizing full moon, first of all. So like that moon in Virgo is like, let's get organized. I want to know what we're doing. I want to know where this is going. I want to know all the details, because that's what's going to make me feel better. That's the vibe. That's the Virgo vibe. So you just take care of these little details. Don't let fear overwhelm you. Remember that fear isn't even real, and you just do it, you know. That's big. Oh, I should have said that at the very beginning of the video. Anyway, so Capricorn, the full moon in this ninth house, trining over to Uranus and Taurus in the fifth house, is telling me that there's something so wonderful happening creatively for you. So there's something that you're going to see. Here's the thing, like, it can go either way, or maybe both ways. Like, you can take everything that you've been learning with the full moon and channel it into a creative birth. You share your wisdom with your children. You write down your life experience into a memoir or a screenplay. You write your travel journal and put it and make it into a book, into a novel. It's your you know, your travel logs. You know, it could be something like that, but it can also be something coming up through your children, that your children do something that change how you see the world and change how you see life. Your romantic partners, the people, someone that you're in love with. This is like passion. This is not committed relationship. That's a different area. This is the lover, the love, the heart. They could be showing you something different about life and taking your, you know, your concepts in a whole different direction. So I really love this, and I'm very personally excited to see what this is. Okay, so what else did I say? Okay, so so our ruler, Saturn, is moving into Pisces in our third house. So this has been so hard for us since 2017, of just working on ourselves, and then working on our skills, talents, and abilities, working on our value. And specifically since December 2020, it's been really difficult for us. We could have either had very expensive children, or romantic situations could have gone really sideways and really south, or they could have really challenged our values and belief systems, or challenged our self-confidence. And so finally we're done with that, and Saturn moves on into Pisces. And I'm also excited for this because I'm a writer, but this is concretizing more thoughts and ideas, putting your beliefs or putting your thoughts into physical reality. So I feel like this is a very strong manifesting energy for Capricorn Sun, Moon, Risings, where the quality of your mental state, the quality of your thoughts is going to manifest maybe more quickly, maybe in a way that's a lot like faster acting karma, because this third house of the mind and the intellect has the connection to the ground, which is Saturn. So that sounded a little crazy, but maybe everything I say sounds crazy. So anyway, it's going to be great. I really think this is going to be a great one for us. And I feel like there might be one last difficult thing, Capricorn, that comes up, whether it's one last like conflict with a coworker, manager, or immediate supervisor. Maybe you have to fire one last person. Maybe there's one last conflict that flares up in the month of March, or there's one last big physical hurdle that you have to do. Maybe you have to finish an assignment, and it's like you have to, you know, really work this out really hard over the next couple of weeks. Whatever it happens to be, there might be like a final exertion of getting this done and getting it, you know, off of your desk, off of your plate, and then you can focus on the next part of all this. So think back, like I said, to late summer of 2022, because you are getting a nice full picture of the meaning, because the ninth house is also the meaning of it. So it's going to be great. Aquarius, sun signs, moon signs, and rising signs, welcome, willkommen. You guys are having this full moon happening in your 8th house. Okay, this is going to be dramatic. This is your 8th house full moon. This is where sudden events happen in our life that makes us feel like we don't have any control. Okay, you walk through the house and there's a burglar there already, and you're like, oh my god. You know, you walk into the house, someone's dead on the floor. This is the 8th house has those moments that in one moment your life changes forever, and you can never go back to the moment before. You can never go back to your ignorance ever again. You can't. and you just have to go forward. You can't go back, and you don't want to go forward, so you're miserable in the moment. This could be depressing. But listen, there could be something like that that comes up where you have to deal with it all over again, or if you've been doing healing, you can finish some big healing that you have been trying to do in this area. So yes, this could bring an event that happens in your life from the 7th to the 21st. Something happens out of your control, and it might have to do with a child or with a creative passion project or with a romantic partner. So your children could have something going on with their health, and it makes you feel like, oh my God, how do I help them? Feels like out of your control, and that could send you into a crisis. So be really, really careful that you don't, that you don't lose the plot, to keep your wits about you so that you can do the right thing, because time is critical if there's something that happens. It is opposing, I didn't mean to put pressure on you additionally, and it does oppose the sun in Pisces in your second house. So this could also just be a financial full moon for you, where there's the end of financial support, there's the end of support from the government, there's the end of some kind of benefit or sharing between you and somebody else. No more whatever, if it's a loan or if it's a form of support or sexual access, you could be putting an end to it, the other person could be putting an end to it. But this can also be a culmination of a fullness where you know where you stand with another person in terms of giving and receiving. And it could have to do, like I said, with some kind of creative thing that you've got, or a child. You may be making an expensive purchase for a child, or because of that, but you're still going to be triggered on a subconscious level. This full moon trines over to Uranus and Taurus in your 4th house of home and hearth and kith and kin. Now, that's really beautiful because this is very healing for you. Like, you're healing mother karma, family karma. You could also be letting go of some trauma, letting go of some kind of blockage, letting go of just something that made you feel like the loss of control. And not resenting it anymore, not feeling bad about it anymore. And it could just it could free you, is what it shows up as with the trine to Uranus and Taurus. Like, how good would I feel if I just let it go? How good would that feel? I'm doing that for me, not because of anyone else. I'm doing that for me because it would feel so much better for me if I let it go. Really let it go. You can do that. You can really do that. Healing up all of the ancestral stuff, letting it go, free as a bird, fly away. So think back to late summer of 2022, what was going on. There was something happening in your home life or your family life or your living situation. And, or if you're like me and you work from home, there could have been something happening with your home-based business, all those kinds of things. You're finishing it up. You see a fuller circle coming full circle here. And with Mars in Gemini, since that amount of time, you've also been forced to look at your children differently, look at your creativity differently. So for me, I took a course and I was looking at my writing differently. And I was writing differently because I was being open-minded enough to consider another way of doing it, of doing this specific thing. So that's for me what it's been for this Mars in Gemini, my 5th house. It's been physically doing it differently, the writing that I'm doing. But that started at the end of summer last year when Mars first entered. So we're finishing this up. This could be like a really wonderful moment where you get the rewards. If you've been doing your relationship with your children differently because they need a different approach from you, you could let go of whatever is making you feel like it's out of your control and physically doing something differently to foster a better relationship with your children. And that could make it a lot better at home. A lot better at home. Pisces, sun signs, moon signs, and rising signs. Welcome to the common. You're doing this full moon in your 7th house of relationships. This is kind of interesting. There could be like a really important relationship coming into your life, or like blossoming in your life, or your partner could take this transit from you. Your partner could have something really big going on in their life where you put the focus onto them. They could be very they could just have a lot going on. Now, it does oppose the sun in your 1st house, which does mean that you may feel like you're at a little bit of, not a crossroads, I wouldn't go that far. You're just, you see where you both stand, and it's T squaring Mars in the fourth house. It's like there could be a home issue where you, that's so funny. It's like on King of the Hill when Peggy wants more agency over what the house looks like, because it's like a statement of them together. And Hank is like not really into it. And she's like, but it's both of us. Like there could be something about the home life like that you and your partner are maybe not in agreement about, or you don't like, you're not both on the same page about it. And or it could be from the home life. Like it could be your children, it could be a roommate, it could be a family situation, a landlord tenancy. Like there could be something, or another family member that gets in between your relationship. Like it can be a lot of crazy stuff, but there's definitely some kind of arguments, conflicts kind of coming up through the home and family area. And it's putting some kind of stress or strain on the relationship. And so this could be a moment where your partner takes a very firm stance and they really communicate to you very ardently what they need and why. Okay, this full moon is trining Uranus in your third house. So you've been thinking differently, or thinking new different thoughts about some of this stuff since late summer of 2022. There were communications that just blew you away. You were really surprised, really shocked. That could have even been like a very important meeting or something like that. Like you met someone and you're like, oh my God, but it's like at this full moon, trining that Uranus and Taurus, this is going to be your partner, very specifically a one-to-one person who is saying like, we have to talk about something, we really have to talk about this, and you guys engage in this conversation. It's a very free-flowing conversation, and I kind of like it. It looks like it's very progressive, and it could be very, very progressive and innovative and very like open-minded. It could be very open-minded. I just hope that you don't do more of the T square to Mars in the fourth and get really emotionally triggered and get like where it kind of can get a little bit gnarly. You guys have Saturn moving out of your 12th house into your first house. So you're going to be confronted with wrapping up your self-sabotaging thoughts and feelings and ideas, and whatever you do that acts against your best interest, you're going to have to put it away. And that's part of this full moon. Like whatever this conversation is, it wraps it up. It wraps it up, or it's trying to. And then you're going to be a lot more like taking yourself seriously. You're going to be focusing more on maturity, being mature, being the, entering your super powerful crone era, like you may shift into, there's the maiden, the mother, and the crone, and you may be shifting in between all of these. But because Saturn's in your first house, guys, I'm like the one to tell you to own your crone energy, okay? Head crone over here, like go crone and never go back, because it sets you freaking free. Okay, so you slip into your maiden energy when you want to, let loose, have fun. You change into your mother energy when you need to nurture and support, but then when the rest of the time you show up as 110% crone. Take care of yourself and feel amazing 100% of the time, and be wise and like completely free, because you let yourself integrate the wisdom. I thought we had a guest. Because you have allowed yourself to integrate the wisdom, the hard-earned wisdom throughout your life. And it's a different kind of freeness, because when you're in your maiden energy, it's ignorance. It's, I'm free because I'm ignorant and I don't know anything about anything. Whereas when you are in your crone energy, you are free because you have actualized potentialities, because you do know things. And that's what sets you free, and all the healing that you did and all that stuff. So it's different, but you're going to really learn to appreciate that over the next couple of years. So let me know if you have any questions or need any help. But so yeah, this is a big couple of weeks for your partner and maybe for your family more so than you, but you will definitely be benefiting through osmosis and through, you know, this can also be the end of you showing up to relationships in a way that isn't good for you, and learning to show up in relationships in a way that is respectful of you and respectful of the other person. And it could be because of what this other person is demanding. This other person has a lot to say, clearly. And, you know, like, so I would just be as open-minded as possible, because the conversations that you're going to be having are going to need you to be more open-minded. Okay. So especially if it's a family member, because that could have been a source of great conflict, or if it's about family matters or about living situations. So just make sure that you are cleaning your side of the street and really listening to them and not taking what they're saying for granted or of lesser importance. Okay. Wow, you guys, we made it to the end. Thank you guys so much for being here and for tuning in. I really, really love having you guys here. So make sure that you guys are liking this video, that you are subscribed to the channel, and that you have toggled the notification bell so that you guys always get all these fun, weird little messages. And make sure that you guys just take really, really good care of yourselves for this week, because a full moon is definitely going to be possibly just like emotionally or physically draining, especially with a T-square to Mars and Gemini. Like, oh my God, that's a lot. So if you would like to learn remote viewing, telekinesis, astral travel, lucid dreaming, or if you simply would like additional astrology and tarot readings just like this one, I did tarot for all 12 zodiac signs for this full moon, in addition to talking about the full moon. It's already up on the Patreon, patreon.com/TheFirstArteagan. Feel free to bookmark, and then when you guys are ready to join the club, we will be happy to welcome you. Until next time, my loves, many beautiful blessings upon all of your beautiful high stars.